Good afternoon. My name is Renato Tichauer. I am CEO of Tremond Metals Corp, a company established in 1993 in New York. We are specialized in trading, import, export, worldwide ferroalloys and some ores like manganese ore and copper ore, also chrome ore and columbite tantalite as well. Besides that, we trade some metals like molybdenum metals, tungsten metals, etc. Our main areas are Brazil, China, India, Europe, and of course the United States. Complementing, I have been in mining business since I was very, very young. Basically in Brazil, in charge of niobio mine and scheelite mines.
Wonderful. So how long have you been in business?
Well, Tremond is since 1993, which is 27 years. And I personally, well over 40 years.
40 years. So since you start 40 years ago, what's the difference nowadays? Well, how the market, not just technology, but how the market works comparing to that time?
Well, I think the main difference, of course, is the speed of the information. When I started, it was by telex and fax. Now the speed of information, of course, is much quicker. I like to use emails, but many people don't even like to use emails anymore. Everything goes by WhatsApp and WeChat, and which makes it a little difficult because it's difficult to control. Sometimes I'm looking for information. I don't know where the information is in WeChat or in WhatsApp or in email. But so I think the main difference is the speed of information, the speed where people expect a return of information.
But definitely China wasn't the main buyer 40 years ago.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, China geographically, big change since 2003, 2004. This is when China started to participate in the market. And if you remember, those 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7 were boom markets where nobody was prepared for the huge amount of demand coming from China, and where prices went to the roof. And yeah, China, of course, was a big factor. China, it's still a big factor, of course. It's still controlling the world and surpassing in steel production. I think China produces 40–45% of the world production of steel. But other countries like India, that is producing today 100 million tons, is also surpassing the United States, which is understandable because the population also is much bigger. So yeah, geographically, there has been big changes.
Even the United States used to be a big buyer in the past because it used to be a factory country. The United States used to make things in the past, not anymore.
Yes, yes. Production of I think the peak production of steel in the United States, if I'm not mistaken, was around 100 million tons, and now it's about 85 million tons. So some steel mills were shut down. Yes, there are a lot of manufacturing that were moved to China and to Mexico, actually. Let's not forget that, and including car manufacturing and many other manufacturing were moved from the US to Mexico.
So, but since the information is so fast nowadays, why the market needs people like you, the middlemen?
I think the main reason is because producers, end users in the United States and mainly in China, they buy on a certain way that the producers, I said producers, I meant consumers, that the producers in other countries cannot attend. For instance, traders need to keep inventories here in the US because though they buy, consumers buy per quarter, but they require to have the total quantity available so that they have flexibility to require the delivery according to their needs. So the traders need to have inventory so that the just-on-time delivery. This in China is a little different. In China, the reason is that most end users don't buy is because they don't have the financial structure to buy. They need somebody to do the trade, to open the letter of credit, and to take care of the logistics. And the Chinese end users are not used to do that. In a certain way, the same thing happened with Europe. That also requires just-in-time delivery. So the traders are really facilitators to have inventory at the point of sale and to finance operations.
So the trader works to regulate the market, I would say.
I don't think that regulate is the right word. I think they give maybe the market liquidity.
Okay.
And satisfy the needs, the benefits that the steel mills want, not to keep big inventories. And in most cases, the traders run the risk of price imbalances. For instance, during COVID last year, many steel mills canceled the contract or required for delay in deliveries, and the traders had to hold positions and in some cases lose money, but the producers, they try to keep the contracts and were not very flexible.
Yeah, but when you put the trading company in the middle of the deal, actually you have to charge for your services. What the buyers and the sellers are talking now is to put them together without the middleman. So to lower the prices, to have more competitive prices in the market. Do you agree with that?
Well, of course, if any operation where the traders are not involved will reduce the end price and cost for the end buyers. However, they will run risks that they are not prepared to run. And they will have to hold higher inventories, which nowadays with very low interest rates is not a big deal, but they are not prepared to do that.
Okay.
So I don't know of many cases that end users are going directly to the producers.
Okay, so in the China-Brazil market today, what's the main problem you see in this market? Because I think that China is buying 60% of all the Brazilian minerals. So Brazil is taking a big risk having China as the main buyer.
I believe that the Chinese try to take advantage of opportunities, and I can also say the Chinese are very mad about Brazilian suppliers, because there has been many defaults, non-shipments, for many reasons. Some producers, miners in Brazil, I'm talking about the smaller miners, of course, they don't have the infrastructure to absorb the cost of logistics. And then there has been a lot of problems with the documentation, that they were not prepared properly to export, which caused delays or non-performance. And so the Chinese are very upset with so many defaults by the Brazilian suppliers. And therefore, they try to compensate, taking advantage. of these Brazilian suppliers to compensate losses that they had. Many end users, I know one end user that I spoke with him recently, they opened last year 10 letters of credit. Only 2 were shipped and 1 had a quality problem. And the Brazilians think that the Chinese are cheating on the quality in China when the CIQ performs, which I don't totally agree, because I believe that individuals in China may take advantage, but I don't think that the government of China, and CIQ is a government company, they cheat or take advantage, because in China, if somebody are caught doing such things, they go to jail. What happened, I found out, is that sometimes in China, CIQ get a sample cargo from the bottom of the piles, where more fines, with more fines, and fines usually have lower manganese content. I heard that sometimes this happens, and but in my case, fortunately I never had any problem. I cannot say never. I had one problem, one big quality problem only, and most of the times I send our employee in China to supervise CIQ sampling.
Oh, wait a moment. Wait a moment. When you send your employee to China, he can change, he can revert the situation, he can negotiate the CIQ level or not?
No, I don't send an employee to China. We have an office in China, and it's our employee in China that goes, and not all the time, but sometimes he goes. He takes a sample himself, and the simple fact that he is there makes the sampler, by CIQ sampler, more responsible and more careful when he sampled the material.
Okay.
The same thing I do in Brazil, regardless of it's SGS or Mitra or Intertech, whoever does the sampling. Sometimes I send somebody to be there and supervise the job and take a counter sample. So I try to protect myself, both sides, doing that, and apparently it has worked.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, because samples are the main item you have to pay attention in this business, because even 1% difference is a lot of loss.
Yes, sampling is more important than the analysis. I mean, we cannot go into the company's laboratories, but laboratory is a machine, is an equipment, and it has to be properly calibrated. So it's very unlikely that laboratory equipment will be intentionally miscalibrated. However, the sampling is the most important part, because the weight sampled is what will represent the pile, the quantity of material that is there. So the sample needs to be a true representative sample of the pile. And there is certain procedures that all these companies need to respect in order that the result will be okay.
Okay. Well, why there is a difference between the SGS in Brazil and CIQ in China?
It shouldn't be. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. It shouldn't be different. As I said, fortunately, so far, I'm sorry, all the differences that were found in my lots, except one, were within 0.5%. And we have cases, and it was even above the actual analysis at a loading port. But it's always within 0.5%. It's never exactly the same. Would be a coincidence. It's impossible that's the same, except if it's a coincidence. So the differences are minimal.
Yeah, I always heard that they are argument from both sides. I think that the main, in my opinion, I don't know if it's possible, but we could create insurance for this difference between the SGS or Mitra and the CIQ in China, or we could ask a third party to regulate this problem or not.
Well, my insurance is having somebody there at loading port and at discharge port supervising. So that's my insurance. I don't think that any insurance company would accept insure that because they don't have any control.
Okay. So another thing about Brazil and China is the lack of confidence among the parts. So why this problem exists, and how can we fix this problem?
Again, it's I think it's a very individual. I remember that the exporters in Brazil usually are not the ones that are doing or supervising or hiring the inspectors. In many cases, it's not. I don't know exactly the reason for these differences. I don't know how to prevent that to happen. And I don't know exactly why it happens. So it's very strange that sometimes I believe that the exporters, sometimes they buy a certain lot, excuse me a second, they buy a certain lot from a miner that promised that the material is 44%, manganese 44. Miner promised that the material is 44%. They collect samples and send to a pre-analysis sometimes. The result is good. And then it goes to the warehouse. And in the warehouse, a sampling is performed by independent inspector, and the result comes 39%. So how is that possible? I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I believe, well, I don't know really. I have my thoughts, but I really don't know. What I would think is just speculation.
Yeah, today
I have the recent case where the manganese content was supposed to be 44%. It was shipped, and when the result came, it was 36.6. That's a huge difference. How is that possible? I don't know.
Yeah, everybody's asking the same question, including me. So today there is a Trafigura report telling the market that they are expecting a 10 years boom in the market of commodities, in commodities market, especially in the mineral market. How do you see this information? It's true, you see this raise, and more than that, which mineral is promising nowadays?
Well, I think we have to look at the minerals that has a limited capacity of production, or cases where new production is on stream, but takes many years to start performing. I think that iron ore is one of those. You know, the Brazilians are having big problems with production of iron ore. Vale announced that they will start a new production, but it will take, I don't know, 4 or 5 years until it's ready to produce. It takes long also because these are big quantities. Copper could be the same situation because there is limited production worldwide. The demand is getting bigger and bigger. And so I believe that copper could be another item that will have a big growth in value. The demand will surpass the supply. Other products like manganese, I don't think this happened happening. I think manganese may go up a little bit, but I don't see it booming. And as we know, I mean, the only thing that can make manganese price jump is if that something happens in South Africa, where there are big problems in supply of power and big problems in the infrastructure with railroads and ports. So this is the only possibility that I see that manganese prices can go up a lot. As a matter of fact, recently, manganese prices in China started to go up a little bit, but in the last few days came down again. And there has been difficulties in selling right now at the price that the Brazilians want, because Brazilians have a valuation of the real against the dollar, and the internal costs are high, logistics costs, etc. And so it may come a point where Brazilians won't be able to ship anymore.
Yeah, it's almost impossible nowadays because the high costs of transportation and the distance from the mine to the port in Pará.
Yeah. And taxes are high, so the government are not really helping the miners, and which is a shame because they are taking too long to legalize the mines, and which they should do because Pará is a state that is not so rich. There are a lot of people that depends on the mining operations,
A lot.
the miners themselves, the logistics, warehouse. There are a lot of people that depend on manganese and copper ore, and it's a shame that the government is not doing anything to speed up, reduce costs, and legalize the documents.
You mentioned South Africa, but I would mention Australia. Australia is fighting politically and economically with China. There is any relation between the prices of the iron ore and this fight?
No, I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think that China will go into a political discussion or economical discussion that could affect the supply of iron ore. This is too important for China. Australian iron ore is fundamental for China, and also manganese ore from Australia. I don't think, especially with the risk that existing risks with South Africa. So I think the political discussion that is going on right now affects wine and other products, but I don't see it affecting iron ore or manganese ore from Australia.
Interesting. In your opinion, it's not opinion, in your experience of the last 40 years, you saw a lot of ups and downs. Regarding manganese, for instance, what's the best price ever you found in this market? By the MTU?
I really don't remember well, but I think in 2018, it was 2018 that it went to $8 or something like that, maybe a little over. But this is the latest that I remember.
$8 for
the MTU.
The MTU. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, maybe it was a little high. I really don't remember. But
if you see the market ahead, your best bet would be iron ore?
Well, there are a lot of products with difficulties right now, difficulties of supply. I think iron ore, copper ore, molybdenum, maybe vanadium. These are products that, I mean, there are many other products that I think prices will go up a lot, but I'm not involved in all of them. So I don't want to give opinion of something that I'm not familiar with. But these four products, I think, has a very good perspective of prices going up, and would be products that I would, if I would be an investment advisor, I would suggest to invest in.
Interesting. So do you think that the political hurdles, like Bolsonaro and Xi Jinping in China, this fight, they are fighting in some ways because the coronavirus problem. What's the interference? What's the link between these political fights and the markets?
I don't think it affects the market per se or directly. I think the biggest problem right now that is causing amazing increase in prices is not only supply and demand, but is the logistics, ocean freights. Ocean freights are reaching a level that never reached before. There is I just read today, there is a shortage of 5 million containers in the world. And big part of it is because a big quantity was scrapped in 2020. And the other problem is that many are stuck in certain ports, even in transshipment ports, because there are not enough vessels. So the market was not prepared for this huge demand after COVID year. And 2018 was a very active, busy year. 2019 was already a slow year, mainly caused by the import tariffs, import dispute between the United States and China. And many ship owners scrapped their vessels and containers. And of course, in 2020, even more. And so nobody expected the boom like we are having now. And nobody expected China to put so much money in the market to increase the production over 1 billion tons. And all other countries are very active, and the steel production is very strong. This has caused a big shortage. And then there was or is a situation with this vessel in the Suez Canal, which honestly, I'm not sure whether it was resolved already, but there are hundreds of containers in that particular vessel. I don't know whether this caused the delay. If the vessel has already been released, which I don't know. This morning I heard that it was not. I don't know. I have to check that. But anyway, it caused a big delay in the move of containers. So all this is causing a huge disruption in the logistics worldwide, and this is causing big increase in prices of commodities. And there is a big shortage everywhere.
It's all about this, the no organization of the market. The market is not synchronized. So when do you think we're going to fix that and going to have regular prices for containers?
It may take a long time. A long time. I am talking about may take 1 year, maybe more. So it's very, very difficult to predict. Are the ship liners starting to build new containers? Maybe. I would say probably yes. But until they are ready, until they come to the market, these locations have been very big. For instance, a container from China to Rotterdam that took less than 30 days, now it's taking 2 months. From Brazil to India, it was about 45 to 60 days, now it's 3 months. So this is causing a big dislocation, big cost increase. And I don't know how it's going to affect the production of steel. It may affect the production of steel. Steel mills will not be able to produce as much steel as the demand, and this may cause a recession. Yeah. So that's my my view of what can happen, and this is when the market will start to become normal again.
So last question, we run out of time. You are a very knowledgeable trader. could you describe your daily activities in terms of getting information? What are the main sources of information for you nowadays?
Well, I think the best source of information is to call people, to talk to people. This is the best source of information because then you can really figure out what is going on in the market. Because each one, if in China, if it's in Europe, in Brazil, in Korea, in India, wherever in the world, in Ukraine, in Russia, or in South Africa, you have different perspectives, different point of view. And basically that's what the publications do. However, I don't know exactly. Of course, you need to subscribe to a publication because that's a summary of the information and you can be on the phone the whole day. But this is what a trader should do, be on the phone the whole day and talk to as many people as possible 24 hours a day because of the time differences. And of course, that's impossible, but I'm talking in theory. So the best way to get information, the best source of information is talking to people, talking to other traders, consumers and producers, and figure out what's going on.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're very welcome. Thank you for the opportunity. And I hope to talk to you soon.